We're live on the custom.
Woohoo! Just turn the video on this.
Yep, baby.
Hey!
Hey.
Can you lower it so I can see?
Man, not my fault you're short. Not my fault you're short.
I know, I feel short back here.
Yo,
I like this
being
side.
a lefty, get over there. Yo, what's up, all? Jeez. We're dialing this in because the lefty...
Keep allowing.
Yeah, I got him. Right now,
Jam
as you can
session.
tell, we're still figuring out this freaking thing. Okay, we're good to go. Let's make sure we're in speaker. Bada bing. Great. All right, let's jam with this freaking session. And we're good over there.
Ooh, look at Kat's here. What?
Kat, yo, is hearing all about you already.
Yep.
Oh my God, we got some good work to do, girl.
Oh my God, stop this.
Pump. Oh yeah, Anna, stop the music.
Okay.
Stop the music,
Okay.
unfortunately, because, all right.
Guys, it's a jam session, so this is probably wine, but you will never know. Just kidding.
Right. Did you guys bring your beverages?
Anyone have tea?
It's a rule.
Coffee, wine, water.
All right. Those are all acceptable beverages.
Yep.
Acceptable beverages. Yo, but so we're pumped as we're getting ready to jam into this again on our second jam session here, where we're kind of really talking about this topic of creating a lasting brand. How do I make my impact, my work, making a difference, getting people results? How do I make it so it's not just happening when I'm working, when I'm physically showing up? Because otherwise we're right into the limits of time, right?
Yep.
Right there also, we're like, I only can work with so many people, because if I'm only affecting change when I'm standing there live, I'm right into limits. Nobody around here likes limits. I don't like limits.
Limits on not only
As a kid,
your time,
but
limits. In helping people, right? You can help so many more people when what you do doesn't just rely on your time alone. Our time is all limited, especially if you have a family. You're like, I designate some time for them too. So you can only give so much of yourself. But when you actually create something that can kind of live beyond you or live without you and still make that change, that's the difference maker.
Right. That's also what leads to more fulfillment in our lives, right? We feel fulfilled, purposeful, meaningful, significant, because we're like, I left my mark. I did the work I needed to do, and there's a way that it can continue on besides myself. And that, like, you're probably here if you want that. If not, you hate us. You're like, what are these?
I just want to build a course.
About?
I just want to make $7 on my PDF.
Well, hey, listen, there's nothing wrong with that later on when you learn words that you need to learn at some point as a free gift, as a tripwire and things like that, because as you eventually learn to like convert cold traffic, they ain't gonna come and spend, I had never met you, here's $5,000. That very rarely happens, very rarely, until you're known. When you're known, that kind of shit happens. But in the beginning, you might have to be like, yo, just get this little thing, take that one step. So those things will be useful. But we're here to talk about how do you do this work so that this is brand worthy, business worthy, not like I just built, like, hey, you're gonna build a course. Of course you're going to, but a course is not the same as what difference are you gonna make that can scale. Different process, different thoughts.
And that's what I think is so much more important to focus on in the beginning, because I remember when I first started building my brand as a newbie in the market, trying to figure it out, I kept thinking, okay, what stuff can I give to the market that adds value? I wasn't thinking and stepping back, big picture, like, how can I leave my mark on the world? How can I take everything I know and create a transformation process or program with that? Instead of giving them one piece of what I know, I want to create a whole process that really takes everything out of my head and says, this is a value I want to leave behind. This is a transformation I want to make in the world. And there are different ways to build that. Then I want to go put together this, 7-day program or whatever it is that adds value, but this is a completely different thing.
Yeah. I mean, who's thinking that level? Who's thinking that level so I can get like a gut check if you're all like, dude, can you just show me the 3 steps to build a course? As compared to this whole like talking about lasting impact, scale shit and whatnot. Okay, good.
Of course.
Kat was the only one. That's it. She's the only one that's getting this. Everybody get off. She's the only one that raised her hand.
Kate, did you raise your hand?
No, Kate's just like, I hate listening to Vito talk about this crap all the time. All the time.
Well, listen, here's something interesting. Those of you that have never really worked with us and you haven't necessarily started a coaching program or process, just think about it. People that are working with us right now still like to hear us talk about this stuff because it's even hard to do with coaching.
Oh my God.
If you don't have anyone coaching you to do this stuff,
best of luck.
It's going to just take 10 times longer because we both did it for a long time, but we also invested in coaching. So, I mean, people that we work with are getting on jam sessions because they're like, I need to rehear this. I need to rethink this. I need to look at my brand again and I have to reevaluate this stuff.
The thing is do you know everybody wants to jump through this process, and we were just doing it today. Because you periodically have to redo this kind of thing in your business and your brand. You have to re-incubate things, or you have to incubate. Like we're re-incubating, but some of you might like, I'm just starting out. I just need to incubate the first damn thing. I need the first thing.
I need to take one idea and move through it.
But you know, there's a reason Ann and I have been able to build brand after brand after brand, because it's very process oriented. Building a brand and the business is process oriented. The most difficult challenge about building brand is truly like being the voice, being willing to get out there and say, I have a message.
Be the leader of the
movement. I have something to say, and I'm willing to turn on the mic to say that. Everyone's got the grand ideas to be like, I want to influence, I want to lead this, I want to lead my market. I'm like, how often are you turning that camera on and actually speaking to people?
How comfortable are you talking about what you do? Is it with passion? Is it with clarity? Is it with fire?
Willing to take the frickin', being able to be like, I'm all right with the haters, the naysayers, the doubters, and all that, because, you know, we've talked about this before, like the confidence to go build a brand and leave a message will not be there. If you've never done it, there is no way to have confidence in it, right? You've never done it. You're like, it's brand new. There is no, you're just gonna be like, I'm scared shitless and I can either stay.
You have to be confident,
you're like,
right?
You're like, I've never done it. There's zero. What you need to have first is just the courage to go do it. And the courage is better felt when you're like, coach or process in front of me, so I can clearly see steps. I always tell you guys, it's a heavy duty book, but if you've never read Flow by like Mikhail Csikszentmihalyi, you just put in Flow and you see a long Russian name, that's his book. You kind of can't mess it up. Yeah, nobody can, like Brendan can actually pronounce the dude's name, which pisses me off every time. But nonetheless, that book was all about the idea that when somebody can see the distance, the big dream, the big goal out there, I want to be a tennis player that wins a grand slam, something as easy as that. If you're like, the grand slam is over there and you're like, how do I get there? But when somebody's just like, you know what, you're going to first start learning your forehand. Once we get your forehand down, we're going to start teaching you backhand. Then we're going to teach you slice. Then we're going to teach you volleys. Then we're going to teach serving. Then we're going to teach that. And you're going to practice these habits. And you're going to follow this. And now I'm going to start teaching you strategy, not just fundamentals. In the beginning, it's fundamentals like, just don't shoot the ball out of the thing, Anna. That would be the great first step. Great first step. Then you're like, can I get it over the net? Good second step. All right, we're getting there. Can you get to the ball without running in a circle? And then coming to it would be a next really good step. So as you can see,
he played in high school. I had never played.
Yeah, I was competitive, so I can make fun like this. But nonetheless, that idea though that I'm getting at is like, do you see how in the beginning you're like, I don't even know how to play the game. I don't even know the fundamentals, but people want to be like, I want to win the match. I want to win the championship. You're like, dude, first, get the playbook. Second, start the fundamentals. Third, learn strategy. Fourth, like
nuances.
Exactly, like tweaking the habits and the behaviors. Then you're able to start being like, now I'm playing. Now I'm actually in the game.
It's the same growth that you go through as a brand and business builder. You know what I mean, guys? So it's just like learning just the basics. And what we talk about on some of these jam sessions is what the heck are the basics, right? Of building a brand, building a business. And the reason so many people are stuck and the reason so many people can't sell what they do is just because they don't have those fundamentals. And we're going to talk about 7 big fundamentals.
Yeah, super high level,
something high level for you guys. Maybe it's 5.
And here's what you're going to notice. If you've been on other jam sessions of ours, or you've been in our programs, et cetera, we're very repetitive about certain things that we're saying. And we're like,
it's
because the process, it's the process, habits.
We can make it look sexy in so many ways.
Principles. I'm like, I can only come back and beat this effing horse so many more times before. I'm like, step 1, do you even know what pain you solve in the market? If you don't know that, it's very difficult to get paid for doing something when you're like, I don't know what I fix. I don't know what I help people achieve. I don't know what I help people overcome. I don't know what aspirin to what headache I am. Mm-hmm. You got to know what aspirin are you to somebody's motherfucking headache, where you're like, this is what I'm struggling with. And if you can remove that, I am willing to pay you money, because we all want speed. We all want that bad thing going away faster, right?
And the difference between a really good brand that sells like high quality programs and you know it for what it's about and its movement is because they don't tell you everything they do. They narrow it down to that one main problem, right? It's not like, I help you do this, this, and this, and this. That's a brand that's scattered. It doesn't get down to, this is what I'm really solving in your life. This is the big pain that I am helping you get rid of.
In particular, like the way a lot of this thought process came around for us is studying some of the best of the best.
Yeah.
In particular, influencers and authorities. This isn't like, we're not helping you guys to think about business and brand from the perspective of I'm Tide, freaking Ivory Soap. That's a completely different kind of brand building.
Your personal brand.
This is like personal brand, coaching brands, etc. And you got to look at some of the greats and how simple their things were. Like, I always love to share like Stephen Covey's The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, because it's a legendary brand. He's been dead a long time, and the brand still goes on.
And his son took it over.
And we started
too.
studying, right? His son took it over, and now there's obviously other coaches. Even I work closely with Brendan Bouchard, and he was sharing. He's just like, no. If this is going to outlast you, there's elements that need to be in place, or the thing stops when you stop.
Right.
And that got me fascinated to be like, I want to do that. I don't know how to do that. How the hell do people do that? I want to figure this out and whatnot. So we've been just like kind of studying what the greats are. But if you think, what is all Stephen Covey known for? The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. If he's done any other work, do any of you know it? I don't. And I read a lot.
I'm like, known for that. Right?
His son is known for The Speed of Trust, which is a fantastic also other book.
But he also picked something to be about. Right?
His simple thing was his pain that he solved. Do you feel ineffective as a person? Could you imagine that you're like, yeah, I do. I don't want to stay here. I don't like feeling ineffective like this. Right there, he's just like, so you know what I'll do? I'll teach you how to be highly effective.
Yep.
And that's step 2. You got to choose the outcome that you're going to be known for. What's the outcome you can deliver? What's the result you can promise? What's the claim that you can make that allows you to start being like, this is starting to form up the message, the mission, the movement, and all those kind of things that help brand exist. If you notice how most small businesses don't really last beyond, because they're not really building a business. They're building not really building a brand, they're building a business. So they get stuck in the service of it versus the mission of it. And that's the difference if we're going to talk about building brand. Does that make sense? So you got to be like, I got to figure this out.
The best thing, what I love about really knowing the big pain you solve and the outcome you deliver, those 2 fundamentals keep you focused on who to talk to and what to say. Because we all get caught up in our expert like space where we could just talk about anything randomly and bring all the little resources that we want.
Like out. You guys will be like, the way Vito can go off on a tangent that makes no sense about funnels and shit.
No.
Yeah.
But it really does keep you focused on the marketing, right? Because really putting yourself out there, being the voice of a brand, you have to be smart with the time and energy that you put into things, because keeping it focused on who you're really serving is why you're out there. You know, it's like, I wish we hung out on social media just to socialize, but we don't have the time, right? We're out there trying to create the value so that we can serve. And then like our personal time is like,
I mean, and just let alone imagine it's like you all like, depending upon what level you're at in your business and when you're getting out there, you realize that you have to sell something, right? Like you gotta be like, I gotta sell something. And the process today of selling, I don't care what it is. I don't care what it is. The process of getting somebody to like look at it and say, I'm going to take my wallet out for that thing. It could be a jar of honey all the way to freaking buying a freaking, being in a coaching mastermind, whatever the thing is. You have to be able to get that person to take that thing out. And if you think that that's an easy skill today in the crowded, loud, noisy markets where we're obliterated with marketing and you can't focus, is exactly why you won't sell. Or you won't sell at a level that gives you the freedom that we always talk about, or where you feel stability, security, that I know that if I go out tomorrow, I can put something out in the market and get the money that I need to live the life that I want. You have to be able to be like, I gotta get good at selling something. So I know if I put that thing out, something comes back. Otherwise, you're at the mercy of the fact that you're like, I can build anything I want, but if I can't sell it because I don't know really what I'm delivering, I can't go to the market and be like, hey, I can help you with this. You're in that low back pain. I can get you out of low back pain in the next freaking 60 days where it ain't coming back and you'll be pain free. Awesome. I don't know what it is. You guys, that's what you guys have to figure out. And you can't keep just trying, like, you got to work through it. You got to incubate it. You
the
often
main point there too, the main point, if you're going off on something else, I want to rewind.
I could be at any moment. I want
to rewind. And in case like they weren't getting the same perspective as I was from what you were saying, you have to have an offer. And it's got to become something you feel really good about putting out there, because otherwise you'll feel icky selling that offer and saying it deserves payment because this is going to add so much value and transformation in your life. And this is the exchange that we've had for centuries. But if you don't have an offer, then, you know, you're still just like dreaming about having a business. You're just going to dream about the logo and the name, but you don't have
something to offer people.
Something to offer that is going to transform their life.
That's going to remove that pain and give them the outcome. Your offer is just, you're saying, this is what it will take to get that pain away and that result you want there. And this is how much it costs. That's it.
The simplified version.
That's the super simplified version, but we're not going to get into that. You
have this pain, I deliver this outcome, it costs this much, join me.
Okay, so then that's what would lead then to the third step.
Yep.
Create the process, the curriculum that offer will be comprised of. You're like, my offer is comprised of my 5 steps of doing this, my 4 phases of that, my 6 high performance habits.
It's the process.
Like Brendan made
of where they
the
are,
process
where they go.
Of becoming from going from underperformer to high performer. That simple message, how to be a high performer. He created the process of the 6 habits of high performers. That is now your next step, to be like, once I've defined the pain and the outcome, can I make the process, the curriculum that delivers that result consistently, repeatedly, so I can take to market one of the most important things I need to be able to turn to the market. We can guarantee results. Based upon the fact that, yes, if you act and you this and you that, obviously you can't put guaranteeing the person doesn't show up and you're like, yo, suck it, dude. You didn't do anything. You get exactly what you deserve in life because you never take action. Have that kind of also just challenge to your audience in your
That's
guarantee.
What Vito does.
That's
you
what
guys
I do.
Shouldn't be afraid.
I literally am on a call somebody and I'm like, I will be honest. We have a guarantee that you do nothing.
I don't think that it'll work out.
You do nothing. It could be the fact that if that's your habit, that you do nothing, you always have the good idea, but you do nothing about it. That could be why you're not getting results in life. I'm kind of spitballing here, but that's probably why. Did nobody ever tell you that before? Oh, this is the first time you're hearing it. I'm glad I caught you. Change
I don't know
that.
what's worse. Somebody that always has the idea and never takes action, or someone like me who had the idea, took action, lost a lot of money, learned, and then got to the next action.
Well, that's because you took
But at least I'm
action.
where I'm at, right?
Anna took a lot of random action. And I mean, all of us have, but she just took a lot of random action.
Yeah.
And you were like, versus focused.
And
being like, what's the bigger transformation I can deliver?
Yeah.
Like when Anna had, what was the bridal shit? What was the
Bridal Bodies.
My
first company.
Right, one of her first companies, Bridal Bodies, that I still had a lot of those DVDs for a couple of years when I inherited her DVDs that she didn't
in the
sell.
marriage. Vito got the DVDs in the garage too.
But a person will only pay so much to be like, let's get wedding dress ready. Because it's not a burst pipe. They're like, I want to be good. I want to be in there and whatnot. But you're like, a person's not going to, you turn to that person and be like, yo, it's $10K to get you like bridal ready. She's like, yeah, it's all right. There's a $150 little course online.
There's a lot of free stuff on YouTube I can watch.
No. So you guys got to be like, what's a big transformation you can deliver? And sometimes you just need somebody to help you unpack that, because often the expert can't see it. Mm-hmm. They've been in it so long, or they've just never been taught how to be like, how do I get it out of here? Or how do I step back and look at my life and figure out what's the real transformation I've learned in my life? Because if I went by my expertise, I'd be teaching you stuff about Wall Street trading. I'd be teaching you about how to design stores for Calvin Klein. I'd be teaching you about personal training stuff. I'd be teaching you about running a brick and mortar business. I'm like, those are all the phases I went through to just really be like, how do you design freedom in your life? By having a business that gives you that vehicle, because I stumbled through jobs and corporations and freaking brick and mortar to finally be like, I figured out how to cobble together different messages, missions, the way to help people through each of those in order to achieve the bigger transformation of the freedom lifestyle. That makes sense? So sometimes you just got to look back at your own story, your own principles, your own lessons, your own mistakes, your own stuff, and be like, oh, damn, I did way more than I'm giving my ass credit for. How come I'm not accumulating that and putting that into what I can go teach others that will truly now be the work that outlasts you, the message that outlasts you, the inspiration that can give people the break from the inertia, pulling their ass on the couch and out into the world. You need to have that message that hoorah that we always talk about. When you back that shiz with the do-rah process that we just talked about, that's how you guys get the moolah.
Somebody laughed.
Kat did. She's new. She's never heard that before.
She's the only one. She's the only one that laughed. It's cute, you know. No. I know. But it's powerful. And what he's saying is so important. And, it takes a while to find your voice. It's okay if right away you don't feel like the preacher Vito, right, on camera, where he's just rolling with his message and always so passionate about the concepts that he's teaching and the things that he wants to, how he wants to make a difference in the world. If that doesn't roll off your tongue, you're not alone. You're like every person who's getting started in really defining their message.
My argument there is, but then when I tell you how to do it,
start.
You can't say I don't know. I'm like, if you ever saw the first time, and Alex was sharing this story to somebody the other day, the first time I ever took a stage was 10 years ago, 2010, 11 years now. And it was in front of 600 people. My first time
I'm going to have to back up.
Ever on a stage. But yeah. And my content was good because I can do content. But my delivery, there's old videos of this. I am speaking to the audience and yeah, you can be doing da 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 da, and I am literally like a caged lion, I swear to God, I heard the videographer oh fuck, man, stop moving. And I tried to watch the videos, and I'm like, I can't watch it because I'm just nauseating myself and whatnot. And I remember I get off the stage, and my coach at the time, he's like, so how'd you think that went? And I'm like, I thought my content was good. He's just like, have you ever learned of the 3-foot box in presenting? I'm like, no, you don't think that tip would have been good before I went on? What's the 3-foot freaking box? And he's like, oh, yeah. And I'm like, great, thanks, coach.
You think he's bad with his
that.
arms and his hands. Usually when we're videos, I'm feeling like the draft and I'm not sure when I'm going to get hit. I'm certain that it will happen, right?
I don't think that's actually funny.
It's even worse with the
No,
first. It's even worse with that first presentation, you guys. It's so funny.
But
that's what just goes to show you that it's that
It's
learning
not
process.
a birth thing.
You got to get going
it's a
with
development
it
thing.
and practicing and all of that.
I'm like, but so to that point, because you got to get super comfortable with your message.
That's
you got to
right.
be able to flow that way. You got to know how to make your offer. You got to know how to talk to the pains and the problems and all that stuff fluidly. That's why choosing something and being like, I'm going all in on this, or at least for a decent amount of time, not like I change every other month type shit, but you're like, next 5 years, let's give it 5 years.
Yeah.
Just stay consistent, because it takes that long for you to develop the skill until you're down the road. Like you could have somebody like a Tony Robbins could come out and be like, I can nail my next message, because when we're building multiple businesses, we're typically flowing one message or one thing into the next. So there's a natural progression. So it's not as much as I jump to a whole other thing I've never done before. You're still going
he'll
typically
still always
in
be
your
in some type of personal growth space, right?
Right,
Even
or
if
business or whatnot, because you're like, what are the things I've learned to do that I can turn back to the market? And especially the audience that's been coming with me the whole time.
Yeah.
You just progress them on to the next things, and then they grow with you. So that's why you got to really go out.
You can work with people from the time that they're born, their kids are born, to the time they're 5. You're like, I can support them through that whole first phase of that life. I think that's amazing. And you'll probably come up with different processes along the way, maybe in different phases of life. You never know as you progress.
But once you got those processes, you got to hit the next step. You got to prove the results. You got to prove that the steps that you made work to deliver that outcome and solve that problem. How difficult is this? Do you see how much easier branding and marketing can be when you just simplify the shit? You're just like, now go prove that you ain't all talk. Now, that means perfectionists stop hiding behind that excuse and just get it out, because you need to be like, I just need the first people through that are starting to be like, oh, that didn't work. That was this, and you're like, oh, that part went smooth. Ooh, this part.
And don't be embarrassed if that happens.
It happens to all of us all the time. The true person that will leave behind impact far after their time is said and done chose the excellence route. They chose to be like, I don't care that I fumbled my first 2 years, 3 years, 10. They're like, I've been here 25 years
later, saying I'm still getting.
So they're like, that's why I'm good. That's why I've mastered my craft. That's what you have to assume if you want to make a brand that lasts. You have to master a craft. Because you're like, I need to be that go-to expert, that authority, that person that can say, I got you. I can get you that result. We don't get that. And you ain't gonna have that
have to
your
end
first
world
year.
peace. I think that when Vito talks at this high aspirational level, some people get overwhelmed because then they think they got to create this solution to world peace, right? Like, you got to be about this message. I mean, like, I'm exaggerating. Obviously, I can't impersonate him at all.
Why is everyone laughing again?
But I think
She's
that
obviously
you shouldn't overthink the transformation that you can deliver in the world. Everything adds value to someone who's in pain and wants something different. They want to go on the other side of the rainbow, whatever that is for them. So it's about really getting passionate about that and then mastering the process to help them get there.
Yeah, I was going to say, when you finally have curriculum, process, framework, everyone uses different words for these things. You really know what you got to go master. Ooh. You're like, I got to master this process. And sometimes you're like, I needed to move shit around. I needed to move this. I needed to move that. I learned something new. You might be like, I learned something new that makes that better.
Yeah.
Oh, I just figured out a better way to explain that.
Yeah.
That's better. Okay, I'm going to adapt that. That's our constant pursuit of excellence, which is why step 5, you got to consistently champion the thing. You got to consistently be like, I'm championing this thing. I'm getting this message. I'm getting this movement going. I'm working this process. I'm working my sales. I'm working on my marketing. I'm working on every element to champion the business.
Champion the mission, the movement. You guys are all about that bigger movement. that you can shift the world in some way and make that difference and make it last in the world. And that's just something that's so powerful to think about, actually, like supporting your family, living a freedom lifestyle, doing what you love, and running a business that you care about and that you love and that you don't even feel like you're working on, but you're like there to like serve that mission, right? And you get to do it by also having some free time, not having somebody with their thumb over you, you know? And that's what we love to talk about too, is it's like,
or even
doing
just
this work
like
is worth it.
Feeling like you never went for it. You regret that. You're like, why didn't I ever go for it? Like and that's the worst part. If you get to your back half of your life and you're like, I just never went after it. I never just tried to do it.
Because I was
That's where you sit back and you think about missed opportunity. And it's exactly, you're like, the only reason was I never asked for help. I
didn't get clarity.
I didn't bother. Instead, I got distracted. I got
doubtful,
lost in other
fearful.
overwhelm. I doubted myself. I got scared. I played small. And all that shit will tear at your soul for eternity. So you'll have the flip side. Instead of leaving your mark, you're buried without your mark. And that sucks.
You're buried with your mark.
No, you'll be buried without it because you never did it.
Right. I mean, same thing. Metaphorically speaking, it goes with you, right? Because you didn't leave it behind.
That's it. And so what other, so you prove results, you champion this shit, then you got to systemize it. That is when it's running so well,
delivering
and so
the
dialed
result.
in to deliver that result that you can finally extract you in the sense of you live.
Right.
The coaching can now be done all via video, all via automation, all via thing that you're like, great. Now, if somebody can't get to me, can't work with me, I'm dead. The process can still exist because you've really systemized it. And this is the key. I mean, this is why Stephen's 7 Habits of Highly Effective People is still, this is why Ogmandino, even though he's not Pat, Ogmandino's work is still going, why Brendan's will, any of these top thought leaders that develop process like this in there's so many realms. There's so many
certifications.
You just got to look at it and be like, oh shoot, yes. I mean, think of all the certifications and all
life
that.
coaching stuff that's out there. It's like they developed the process.
Being a personal trainer, it doesn't matter. There was a process that you needed to go through to figure that out. And that's how these things carry on. And that's the only way you'll eventually scale and get it out there. And I remember you got to know it down to the point of like, when we became certified high performance coaches, and there was 12 steps that you learn, 12 things that you teach in order to go from underperformer to high performer. And Brendan, it's his methodology. And I remember he was coaching to us and he's like, some of you will be tempted to go take, he'll be like, to go take persuasion and move it to session number 1 when I have clarity of session number 1, because you're like, my client really wants to know how to market better and whatnot.
And it's a group of existing life coaches and people that have their own process.
Correct. Because he's just like, y'all
they're going to try to mix
process.
It and match it up.
So you think you know this so well. You'll be tempted to move this here. And if you do, you will not call it certified high performance coaching because it will not deliver the same result, because for the last 15 years of my life, I've moved all the sessions already. I already know the order they should go in. Don't mess with my process, people, or you can't be certified in this process. And I remember, oh, damn.
Everybody took
that's how well you need to know your shit.
To claim
really be like, this is work that will outlast me. When you know it that well, that excellent, that research, that whatever, that what a place of confidence to come from. But you can do it too.
You can.
Because you're just like, I'll figure out what
you're just committed to the process of mastering your craft, right? Like Vito said
choosing
earlier.
Your message, discovering what outcome, result, etc. You guys get the idea at this point. That leads to the final step after you systemize that you can actually pass it on. Now it's where you become the teacher of other teachers so that the work can now start to spread beyond you. That's how you can pass it on to a generation or somebody that's taking over the company, etc. Now, I get that that's super high level thinking, but why not build that way, even if you don't decide to do that? Because to me, I'm like, this is like building brands and business like this is the modern day equivalent of a family owned business. I'm like, Luca's going to be raised around this messaging.
We're going to be
all
mapping
the time.
out his signature system when he's
I'm going to be like, what's your signature system?
5 years old.
Like, right?
When he's fluent in English, we'll start working on his brand building.
Yeah. But if you approach it that way, number one, you won't build an ordinary business. You'll build an extraordinary business.
Amen to that.
And that will feel amazing.
Yep.
And two, like the level of what you're putting out will be so far what others are doing that you'll live the life that you want. Because you'll always be like, no matter what, I know how to, you're like, I might not want to go out and affect 1 million people, but I can consistently freaking go deep with 100 people, 50 people, 20 people every year and have the income that I want, know how to control that, do the work that I want. And I can literally be like, my kids could be raised in it. Somebody else could be like, I want to carry on this torch. And you'll be like, let me show you how I did it.
All the systems are in place. You have to be the voice, right?
That's it. And then they'll improve upon it probably.
Probably.
You're like, I took that seminal work as far as I could here. Now you take it over and take it to the next.
And families have been doing that for generations. I mean, like, if you want to be in the same field, I know, like, a friend of mine from back home, right? And his dad was a general contractor. So then he joined the business, but then he also created the commercial real estate side of it. So now they were buying properties, and he had the broker license, so he could start doing even more with the construction company. But that was another way he evolved the brick and mortar.
That's it.
So people have been doing it for generations, but when it's the online, people just think, oh, it's just me. It has to rely on me and me alone. Well, not if you build it with this in mind. Mm-hmm. All the things that we've been talking about today.
But questions, thoughts, who's ready to reveal their entire pain, outcome, transformation,
This is when we do like to open up for Q&A, because honestly,
you got a question like Kat is.
We're here to offer insight.
Yep.
And, a lot of times, like last jam session, I was like, sometimes you don't know what question to ask, right? To get the answer you're looking for. So that's okay too. But keep thinking upon this process and thinking about these elements we talked about and get clarity on those.
And remember that on these jam sessions, we usually pick, depending upon what the topic is, we sometimes pick one of our courses or one of our things that we're like, start with this. Those of you that are actually in our program, do nothing. Stay exactly what you're doing.
Yeah.
But if you're not in our freaking program yet, our Monetize Your Message course is badass. That's what you want to start with, because you want to be like, so if I don't know what I'm going to go say and what difference I'm going to go make and what message I'm going to have.
Well, that's the pain.
There's nothing for you to build. There's nothing for you to build. So just the idea of just doing the first incubation of what pains can I solve? What problems can I solve? What outcomes can I deliver? Do I roughly have any steps that I can see in my life, etc.? Is just the beginning of it, so that you can be like, I gotta incubate that stuff to then finally start to be able to generate what the viable business idea is going forward. So we'll end up dropping that link somewhere in one of these things.
This is what we have our students
do
pretty much do, in the beginning of our process. And we're also offering the month access so that you can also jump in. Not only get our Monetize Your Message program, but you can also have access to our Clear Vision Planner and
the playbook
and
get a little month of coaching in to realize how crazy Anna is, but how
that's
cool
2 coaching calls
I am
in the month.
3. You see, you don't even know
3?
Our offer.
Oh, that's right. You do a call. I forget. Vito does calls.
See, she forgets I work.
He hardly
how much
works.
I work. She's just out there.
He hardly works. But it's cool because then you also get to see some of the other steps that we're teaching our students to build and to get clarity on as they're going into this brand building mode. So
you guys should see what this is like when we're on wine.
Kat,
you'll experience it.
I'm so only on tea.
You're only experiencing
I wish I was on wine, but I'm on tea. That's okay. I like tea.
That's all right. That's cool.
Kat, you got a question?
Yeah, hit it.
All right. So my question, I'm going to keep my voice down because I'm in the co-working space, is that so I know how to do coaching one-on-one really well. What I don't know is how to create something for the generic. And so is that something that I'll learn with the Monetize Your Message?
Say that one more time.
Yeah.
So what do you mean in the generic?
Well, so when someone tells me something and I'm in a coaching session, then I tailor it to what they need. And
what are you coaching?
full breakthroughs. So life coach.
Okay. So you're helping a person that's stuck break through.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Is there anything more specific as far as the breakthrough? Is it breakthrough in business, breakthrough in marriage, breakthrough in your health? What's the breakthrough in?
I mainly focus on personal breakthroughs. And so, yeah. But after talking with Anna, I'm like, so there's this other avenue I can go down. And so I think it seems so broad for me that I can tailor things really well. But if I tailor for somebody, is that going to work for everybody?
I would still want to get a little bit more niche, a little bit more specialty, a little bit more specific.
She's what I was telling you about special needs kids.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Correct. So there is that uber niche, right?
Yeah.
And then there is the like personal breakthrough, which is still a little bit large. I would probably be challenging you, Kat, to bring that down a little bit, but let's just run with that. Either which way, breakthrough in life typically has certain things. If you're not clear on what you want, that's why you're not breaking through. So clarity must precede all things, because otherwise, this is why you're like, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing, and this is why I'm not getting anywhere in my life. And you're like, are you even clear on what you want? No. Well, this mystery is over. Why you're not getting what you want? Clarity has to begin. Then I'm going to use Brendan's because it's an easy framework for me right now. And then being like, okay, now that we're clear, we just broke through a little bit, right? You feel good. You feel like we're going there. Awesome. What's the next thing typically holding them back from going to the next level? You keep playing small. You're scared. You're fearful. You won't get out of your own way. You're in your head about this. You lack courage. Courage is what you need next. Because if you want to break through, you better have the courage to go after the dream, go after the project, to go after the girl, to have the kid, to start the business. You better have courage. You see how all of a sudden I'm making process? And it won't matter whether it's a person struggling with special need kids or a person that's struggling with whatever. You're like, you got to get clear on what life looks like now that you have this situation in your thing. And you're going to have the courage to tackle this, because now your world's very different. And there's going to need a lot of courage coming out of this, right? Because you'll have the fear of just curl up, or I'm the victim, or this happened to me, versus how you see how all of a sudden, no matter what, now you might with them just see their day a little bit more, where you're like, I know what it's like to juggle the morning routine, to what it's like to juggle the work and whatnot. Where in personal breakthrough, to that mom that is also struggling with those other things, you're like, that's not specific enough for when she's like, but I don't even know how to manage all the kids right now, and I don't know how to deal with all this. And you're like, but I've been there. I do. And I found a way through. So I'm going to teach you also how to break through in your day, break through in your routine right now. That is how, for that audience, you can tailor or add to the process, because you look at their sub problems. You look at the other shit that's going off in their day, and you're like, oh, I can go answer that. But when I'm in my personal breakthrough business and I got another client that isn't in that situation, I'm not going to be marketing that or using that part of the process, and off you go. Does that make sense?
It does. Thank you.
Yeah.
I still think you have a better business idea than the personal breakthrough.
Yeah.
From what we spoke about, like your niche, you can make it so much more
because
specific, but it's totally up to you. It's what resonates with your heart and with your mission.
I think maybe I just don't understand how to take the niche and what to do with that. So
you just started 2 days ago.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, I'm sorry. You're not sure of the whole process you should have for this.
I'm on day 2 of CBT.
How dare you, Kat? How dare you not know the process? You know that takes about 3 or 4 months to figure out, right?
Aaron, are you on here? I see Aaron Anderson. Aaron, how many months did it take you before, and when you finally came to B&B, Aaron was doing all these different ones, and we were beating them up. And then when she came here to B&B, she was just like, and whatever finally came out, we were all like, oh my gosh, we finally got it.
You're out of the box.
Like,
celebrating, like kicking our shoes off in joy.
You bumble and fumble your way through until it gets there. But it doesn't mean you don't get in the game.
Yeah, that's right.
While you're waiting to figure out
the mission.
You started to talk about saying it, figuring it out. That's how you're going to get there. Yeah. But to Anna's point, like just straight up personal breakthrough. There's a lot of that in the market. Now, I'm not saying you can't take
Because it goes
clients.
after everybody that needs a freaking personal breakthrough.
Correct.
I mean, it's just
not
like
that you can't get
it's
clients
a good
that way.
outcome, but
You totally can.
you know, it
But
speaks to a
to
lot
build
of people.
distinction, to build a distinct brand,
Mhm.
going a little bit more to that niche allows you to really capture that and serve in the way that only you uniquely can there,
They still need a breakthrough
which
process.
helps you separates you from the masses. And you can still take your breakthrough process and plug it in there. And if you get a couple people because your people are coming, you're like, I'll still take you on. But you're like, I'm really focused on how the heck do I serve this unique audience? Because that's my calling.
No one else is, and you have nuances of your own personal experience to truly help people
your story. That's how you monetize your story.
That not a lot of experts who know how to help people with a personal breakthrough know how to teach it to a parent that's grieving or a parent that's dealing with a special needs kid, and they're trying to manage their whole life differently now in this new world they live in.
Yep.
What really spoke to me yesterday was when I was talking with Anna, and it was the idea of being able to have this course available to the NICUs, to be able to
talk about impact.
Yeah.
Now,
that really made
you know what makes this really scary for a lot of people in the beginning is when you go that niche, it's not as easy to grow a large audience. So they're like, I don't have the 10,000 followers. I don't have this and that. And that can be scary because you're trying to wait out where you're like, my voice is starting to get into, I figured out how to start getting in front of the people that want that message. Because you can put the message out and you're like, none of those people have those special need kids. They've never been in the NICU and whatnot, that you're like, it's going, but if you're like, who has my audience? Oh, there's hospitals, there's doctors, there's this, there's that. How do I go serve them so I can get in front of the right people?
Yeah.
What most people do not do is have somebody tell them, who has your audience?
Yeah.
Okay, go, it's time to go talk to them.
We're going to make that list together.
And do this and that helps you now be like, okay, in the meantime, you still might be monetizing the general pop breakthrough market.
Right.
But little time will pass, you start breaking through, start making some relationships, you get in, a blog goes out, a summit goes out, something that you're on, and all of a sudden people are like, oh, you're the one that's helping the people with that. My friend is like that, and we haven't been able to help her out. I think this is going to be great. Would you do a call with her? Blah.
For you, it's the quality over quantity. And because the transformation is so important, but it's like, you're just going to get more, you're going to get a lot of probably word of mouth referrals. You're going to build network. You know that one mom knows all the other moms in the NICU. That's what we talked about.
Is there a support group? Is there a support group for people like this?
Not really.
No.
There aren't.
Oh, or there's your first opportunity. There's your first opportunity. Community and support.
Yeah.
That's it. That's why when we eventually name your Facebook group and all that kind of stuff, so you can get out and start drawing people in. And a lot in the beginning of your message will be like, hey, are you or someone you know struggling with this? So if the person is just like, it's not me, but the minute you said someone you know struggling with this, they can, now you tap into them being like, oh my God, nobody's talking to like I would never. And
it's either your sister-in-law or your cousin, and they're dealing with this, and you just wish you could help, but you wouldn't know the first thing to do. And you're like, oh my gosh, yes, my cousin or my sister, whatever. And it's like I said, that niche is just like there's such a need, and it's so special. And there's very few people that are gonna just really jump into this space and love it and give it all the fuel it needs to create the change. I love it.
Yeah.
Well, and I know quite a few that have older kids too, that are, 5 to 10.
Yeah, because you can cover the first years, then the later years.
Yeah.
My boys just turned 20.
That allows you all to have longer time to work with them, or them coming back, or you to pick up the market at both friends.
Yeah.
You're like, I can pick up the people at the front, I can pick up people here.
In the middle.
And this group, the people just starting out, I could potentially have them for a long time, because you're like, stay in our program, and each month I'm delivering something new, some new way, some new thing. Hey, how do I deal with bathing them? How do I deal with this and that? And you're like, in the personal breakthrough market,
You don't need that for
nobody could freaking like that's
He's
kinda
like,
true,
can
whatnot.
you teach, just normal dads how to do stuff with like kids that don't even have special needs? Vito is a special needs dad.
Once again, Kat, not funny. Not funny at all.
Anyway, but speaking of kids, you have to pick yours up.
Yes, I do. So any other questions, thoughts, guys, out there? Otherwise, great way to think through that. Hopefully that helps serve you guys to think about, man, was I being too general? Was I this and that?
Oh, yeah. Other
not,
questions come up in
the other group?
In the other group too. Make sure that
Anna, you're hitting all the wrong things.
I can't find anything. He's got like 18. Okay.
I have a question.
Okay, so Michelle, how live do you want to go? Weekly? There's various thoughts on that. Every day takes advantage, obviously, of the algorithm, and you're in it and you're whatnot, especially when you're starting out. I personally like the once or twice a week because I don't like living to the social media. I have other parts of the business. I know how to run ads and things like that. But in the beginning, I'd go live as often as possible, find the rhythm that you can be consistent
That's
with,
exactly right.
and go.
Like go live as much as possible. Video is favored on the algorithms. It's favored on like most platforms. And, people not only get to know you, like you, and trust you more when you're live and in video form, they feel like they know you because they're hearing your voice, they're seeing your facial expressions, they hear the tone. And that really creates a closer bond with people who don't know you. Like you guys probably feel like you kind of know me and Vito a little bit more. Those of you that have never really spoken to us on a call or gotten on the phone or met us in person, you're probably like, oh yeah, I kind of know those two.
Yeah, you're all like,
weirdos,
God,
Anna's really salty, Vito's really sweet. I don't know, those two are okay. But it's important to demonstrate that to your audience more and more so they really start to consider you either an authority or a friend or a mentor or somebody that, they can look to for answers.
You will gain no audience by never being out there.
Yeah.
So what can you be consistently doing and getting out there with? And which is why you got to really find that message, because you're like that. You never think to yourself, how often should I go on? You're like, I'll go on whatever it freaking takes to get this message out there because I need to deliver on what we're freaking doing in this world and who needs my freaking help. So you get out of your way and start going to do the work.
Yeah.
That's it. So hopefully that helps you out in there and whatnot. That's why, again, if you guys are starting to shape the message, grab that Monetize Your Message workshop, start working through that. It'll come with a little ignition call so we can see how you're freaking doing in it. You're in the coaching program, but get involved. Otherwise, there's not much we can do. Oh, I saw a hand go up.
Terry.
Terry, what up?
Hey, great to chat with you guys. I just purchased the Monetize Your Message and coaching and consulting startup kit. So I got to get in there. But so I'm just starting, and my target market is women over 50, interested in, they want to get fit, gain energy, lose body fat, lose weight, so they can live the life they want. The live the life they want is kind of lame. So
just
I'm
broad.
not,
it's just vague, right?
I don't know how to find.
So first thing I'd be doing when you go in, Tara, is I'd be like, how can you go a little bit more to the pains deeper than,
right? I was going to say, what's
like,
the biggest
get
pain
fit,
they have?
get lean. Energy is an important one, but energy served with a bigger pain, like let's use the example that's easy for me to reference. I'm a business owner. I'm underperforming. I'm not hitting my goals. I'm not making the money that I want. I'm not out, and all those feelings of I'm not serving the way I want. I'm not as successful as I want because I have no energy is better service than like I have no energy because I want to lose 10 pounds and I want to fit in my jeans better, et cetera. So your mission is to find out with your audience a little bit deeper that no energy, that when they're looking at their body and their weight and this and that, is probably also being like, that's really a confidence issue. That's a self-esteem now. That's a thing that you're like, well, what is all this really denting them from? And it might be like, this is super vague as well, but it makes it easy for me. Like pursuing your dreams. So you're like, you're not pursuing your dreams because of these freaking issues you're having.
Look at that.
So then you can make, I know this dog is hilarious. You can make your message about living your dreams. I would not do that because that's too vague, but you
well,
get
it's
the
kind
idea.
of going deeper too, Terry, with like, if they have this weight gain, you know, and they don't have the energy and they want to, you know, get healthier, why? Like, what is it that's,
Right.
what is it that they're really, what's the burst
You bring them
type?
home. I got to go get
Okay,
Luca.
you go.
And then, guys, I'll see you guys next week, probably on
Thank
the thing
you.
or in the program.
But we always go deeper as to what is it that you could actually solve for them by doing all those other things? Because everybody is teaching, like there's a lot of people that are helping, you know, like people, you said people over 50?
Yes,
Yeah.
women. Yeah.
Women over 50 are like, okay, well, what is it that they're dealing with? Is it the hormones, right? Is it because they don't really know how to actually, you know, get started and they're afraid? Is it the big fear factor that is preventing them from actually living their best life? So go back to really their big problem, because it could be 10 pounds, but I don't feel like that's a burst pipe. It could be energy, but what about energy? Are they underperforming? Are they disconnected in their marriage? What is it that it's creating? Are they not able to, you know, play with their kids or whatever it is, you know? And it can be more specific on the outcome when you really know what pain it's solving. You're going to be walked through this in Monetize Your Message. So you're going to do more of a deep dive, more of a brainstorm, and you'll get those brain joggers going. And then on our calls, you'll be able to talk about some of those more specific outcomes.
Okay. I have been wrestling with this for a while, and I've done a number of ideal client, you know, activities, and I just am having trouble. But I love that I'm still a little too vague. I did speak with 6 ideal clients, and they're the ones who told me about the energy and confidence. And I was way vague before that. Fitness, nutrition, mindset, you know.
So they said they want more energy and confidence. They wanted more energy and confidence. That their biggest desires was that?
Yes. And then a lot of them wanted to lose some weight. So
Why did they want more energy, confidence, and to lose weight?
They don't have energy during the day to do what they want to do.
Got it.
You know, or on the weekends, you know, to travel. They're
feeling burnt out.
Yeah. But so I like that you said, you know, think about the real pain, because we have to identify, when we're identifying the niche, what is their real pain, because we can solve it.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, you're getting more to the point where it's like they're living in burnout mode.
Yeah.
Right. And they're not young enough to live there, because their body will start to break down fast. I can't even live in burnt out mode. I mean, I couldn't do that even when I was 30. I was getting burnt out. Yeah. And I was like, oh my gosh, recovering from this is really hard. Imagine if I'm 50 plus and I'm running on burnout mode. Yeah. Well, guess what? I helped you go from running on burnout to maximizing your energy and productivity in your life. You know, and so you've just got to choose something that can feel more urgent and more painful in their life. Because if you say, I'm going to help you lose 10 pounds, or, you know, I'm going to help you eat better, or whatever it is, like move and exercise and gain your energy and confidence, they're like, great, I would like all those things. But what they would really like is not to feel burnt out in their life. Because that's the real pain they feel every day. You know, they're not missing exercise. They're not missing eating perfectly. They're not missing all the things that you need them to do to avoid burnout.
Yeah. So I have to really think about, okay, I'll have to think about the burnout. I'm not certain that's the exact thing. However, but
you're getting closer to a big problem, not all the little sub problems that are causing this in their life.
Yeah. Okay. That was
right.
helpful. Thank you.
You're welcome. Sweet guys. All right. We're going to bounce out. So much fun to see all your beautiful faces. Hope to see you guys in the OBSS group. And a lot of you, it's great to see you here, who I'll see in a few weeks on our coaching call. Bye, everybody.